Today going to be a fun conversation. So today I have Corey Reese here, and
Yes,
he
yes.
is a talent turned creative. So he's an all-around creative. So he started out modeling. So modeling and the billboards and the ads that you probably know his face by now. And so now we're gonna learn how he made that shift from being in front of the camera to behind the camera. So he's been doing it for a little while. I've been doing it for a little while. But the most important thing about this conversation is really showing you how you can do it too. So hi Corey, how are you?
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for
Good,
having me.
good.
Yes, yes, indeed.
So go
Uh,
ahead and give the breakdown of how you started out as a talent. And so I know you've been in ATL, LA, MIA, NYT, the whole bit. So tell us how
mhm.
you got started.
Yep. So definitely thanks for having me once again. Corey Reese here. And the cool thing is that my journey really started off different from most people. I played sports through college on a full scholarship, and that was really my first goal as a kid. I remember wanting to go to Florida State, and from Florida State, play for the Buffalo Bills because that was actually my team at the time.
Okay.
But I graduated from college. I finished with my degree in computer information systems. I did make it to the NFL. And from there, because I worked out, me and one of my good friends, like, you know what? You're going to find us on the billboards. If we don't make it to the NFL, we were talking about we was going to be on these billboards and magazines and stuff. So after college, I actually set out to do just that. So like you said, I've been on billboards in Times Square, Print as BMW, 56's Bachelor Cosmopolitan. And as the years went on, just kind of continued to build within that. I ended up buying a camera in 2006. I was still working with the airline in the IT department. And it was funny because my girlfriend at the time was like, I know you're not trying to be a photographer. And I was like,
Yes, I
no,
am.
right. That really was not my goal. But when I tell you by 2008, I was able to leave my full-time job at the airline to pursue photography full-time. And it just kind of continued to evolve from there. So it's been a fun ride.
Wonderful, wonderful. And so tell us how it came from, like, how did you start modeling? And
Mhm.
then what did you learn from your modeling days when you finally did pick up the camera and started doing it yourself?
Right. I think for me, like really the modeling was just a means to doing something outside of just being seen. I guess at the moment I thought I was attractive, worked out, and I just wanted to be seen. That was really the end of it in terms of what my goal was, because that was really not something that I wanted to. I grew up thinking I was going to be a model. So as I got into it, started doing test shoots with different photographers, and I saw that I was actually getting picked for different things and getting booked. Of course, you get told no a lot. So just make sure that you understand that, guys. Doing this journey of entertainment, you're going to get told a lot, no a lot, but you definitely got to have tough skin. So I think from being in front of the camera, understanding angles and the different things that it goes into modeling, when I became a photographer, I really picked it up very easy. I had friends that was photographers. I kind of asked them certain questions about what type of equipment to have. And like when people see the stuff that I was shooting when I first started, when I picked up the camera, it was like, man, you just started shooting. Your stuff looks better than people that's been shooting for 5, 8, 10 years. Because I guess because being a model, it was just more of me understanding creatively what I wanted to get out of that. But it was really just kind of putting the technical side of, okay, where do I place this light to be able to create what I saw? You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So it's like it's always been in you, but you really have to tap into it. And I think that's what happens when you finally jump into it. It's everything just kind of rolls and tumbles and goes from there.
Absolutely, and I always give that parable in the Bible where that talks about that one person that buried their talents, and their talents was given to the person that already had a few or more than that person. That's kind of like how I feel like my life happens. Like every time I try something new, God continues to bless me with those extra talents because I'm trying. For the people that die with those talents inside of them and not using them, they're burying their talents, if you will. They give it to me because I'm always trying. I'm always trying to see what's the next thing that I can do, or just really pushing the envelope on what I can accomplish.
I love that. I love that. Now I feel like we do have a similar story because I started out technically my mom gave me a camera at the age of 5. So
Wow.
with that, she just gave me a camera and I mean she didn't teach me how to use it. So she would just, she showed me like, okay, this is how you take it with the shutter, this is how you look
Hmm.
in it. But I mean, she didn't tell me any techniques. So I have literally found my gift and just went running with it. But of
Wow.
course it was on and off because my first ever camera was a Polaroid camera. That was cool.
Hmm.
And then we went to the Kodak cameras that you had to take to the convenience store and wait a week or whatever to see if your photo
Right.
was good or not.
Right.
And then after that, it wasn't until my first digital camera was um, I don't remember the brand. It was cheap, but I was just so happy to have it because it had
Hmm.
photos and video. So I took it with me on my first out of country travel. So that it seemed like my start was travel photography because
Hmm.
even when I went to high school and got to do a study abroad program in high school, I had
Hmm.
a DSLR camera at that time, so a digital single lens reflex camera, and through that is when people felt like I took them with me on my trip, the way I just, naturally captured environment, naturally captured people. And it just
Hmm.
literally, it found me in a way. And it just, it's something about being or holding a camera that became my voice, my creative voice. So
Hmm.
that's how I would end up basically learning, like, okay, I can make a difference with this device here. Is that how you felt like when as soon as you would hold a camera, as soon as you learn like, okay, I can teach what I know, I can inspire others to do the same thing. Do you think you feel the same way?
Yeah, I think it was like one of those things that I think, but working with the airline and when I stepped out to really pursue the creative side as a photographer, really the bug bit me. You know what I mean? In terms of seeing how it was coming out and being able to create things for other people, because I was reaching out to other people that were trying to get into the industry, into modeling and trying to build a portfolio. So through helping them create content and some of those people being signed or getting more recognition through the stuff that I was creating, it definitely gave me a great sense of, man, like this is something that I'm able to make a difference. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And you can't live a life of paper without serving and being and living in your purpose.
Absolutely. I think really if you ever want to be great yourself, like the more people you help, the better off you'll be. And obviously you will never go hungry, go broke, the more people you kind of invest in you helping other people. If you understand that flight, I think people don't really understand, like, because they want the reward without the service, right? So the reward comes after the service. And as long as you're taking care of people, you'll never have a need for anything.
Absolutely. I completely agree. Now let's talk about how you first got started into that. How did you start teaching others? What's the name of your platform for teaching others?
Absolutely. So I think for me, funny story, like after, I think it was around in 2011, like this was around the time where, I had been, struggling through like the entrepreneurship road because I didn't have a clear plan in terms of how to actually build a business. And I think a lot of people have to make sure you differentiate the two between just taking photos and building a business and building a business. You have to understand the business side of things, putting the marketing in place so that you can have consistent work. And through one of my downtimes, I was like, you know what? Let me just make some videos that I can teach other people. So I actually remember like it was yesterday. I set up my backdrop in my kitchen. I had a townhouse at the time, and I recorded. I put a black screen up, and I recorded 3 videos, one on aperture, shutter speed, and ISO, and I uploaded them to YouTube. And when I tell you the response that I got from those videos, people reaching out, I guess teachers were finding those videos saying that they show their class these 3 videos to help them understand aperture, shutter speed, and ISO. It's just crazy. So fast forward, in 2015, a platform I got hold of, a platform called Udemy. And
Hmm.
by this time, I was like, you know what? Like I dreamed different than most people. I was like, man, how can I make $1 million in a month? That was my mindset from getting some personal development in and learning what was possible for my life. So I was like, you know what? If I have a $200 course and I have 5,000 people that buy that course, that's $1 million right there. So that's really what my initial goal was. But when I set off to put those courses on Udemy, I uploaded a couple different courses, and till this date, 2015 until now, I've got a check every single month from Udemy from classes that I created from 2015,
Wow.
because the basics of, the aperture, the shutter speed, the technology changes, but those fundamentals don't change regardless of what camera you're using. So that's kind of how I really transitioned into helping other people. And those courses were more so catered towards the beginners, but then ultimately I realized that it's a lot of stuff as it relates to Photoshop and the basics. But now, how do you take your skill set as an artist and now put that in front of people that can use your services. So that's when I really kind of dove deep into showing people how to build a six-figure business through the arts that they create with the camera.
I love that. I love that. Yes, definitely. I think we're about to cross paths again because I had the same. It was, I believe, 2015 is when I had the
Mm,
same exact thought of. I had already been to a few countries, already had a few clients, already captured a few events, and this was really the start of smartphone photography as well. So everyone
mm,
really wanted to be a photographer. So then they started coming to me or asking me, or I was joining a lot of communities, Facebook groups, Slack groups that were talking, or they were
mm-hmm.
already documenting their travels, but they picked up this DSLR, they don't know how to use it. So they're asking all the questions. I'm providing all the answers. And then they ask me, do you have a course? I'm like, I guess I should make one. So
Right.
I literally made one from start. Of course, I know everything from all of the technical tools to how to use Photoshop and all of the programs, but you kind of have to start from beginning, start with the basics of why are you a photographer? Why did you choose your device? How do you know how to master your device? So that's also
Mm-hmm.
how I started a online platform, and it's been amazing of just teaching people so many things that I didn't know that I knew that I was just
Right.
ending up teaching people. So it's amazing what you can do when you kind of follow your purpose.
Absolutely. And I think part of what you were saying is that when you're teaching other people, it forces you to continue to learn so that you can continue to pour into other people. It forces you to grow and not be the same and not be stagnant. So I think that's the best part. Like that's like a gift for the teacher and the student. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, absolutely. Now talk about the learning experiences when you launched Photoshoot Club, because that's a different, I would say that's a different niche than those who want to, at least for me, who wanted to learn how to take better travel photos or take better self-portraits. So talk about all your learning experiences with starting Photoshoot Club.
Absolutely. So yeah, the photo shoot club is what I kind of have seen, like especially with Atlanta becoming like really the new Mecca, the new Hollywood of the South, if you will. What I wanted to do and what I saw is that a lot of the talent around Atlanta, like they might have one good photo shoot and then they take 5 steps back with shooting somebody that's not as good. So now you have a good photo and you have 5, 6 lukewarm photos, and the people are mostly not going to judge you by this good photo. They're going to judge you by the ones that's down here. So what I wanted to do, I put together, I curated a group of photographers, stylists, makeup artists, and I called it the Photo Shoot Club. So we did not take on everybody. People that we actually believed in, that we felt like we can help. Those people were able to come and be a part of the Photo Shoot Club for a small fee. Obviously, that they would pay a lot more if they were outsourcing these different services independently. But I wanted to kind of curate those people to give them access to be able to create consistent contents over a 3 to 6 month period. So we weren't an agency, but we were getting them prepared to be represented and to get the interest of people that were they're looking for talent in the industry. So that's kind of how the Photo Shoot Club came into play.
Perfect. Yeah, I love that. And so I think I want to kind of rewind a little bit that I
Mm-hmm.
too was living in DC.
Mm-hmm.
And even though it's a very political environment, I found my way into what I like to do. I love to capture just one-on-one studio portraits. I love to find the artists, the creatives.
Mm-hmm.
So I would have those who were starting off with, I would give them TFP or trade for photo shoots. So they want to start off with their brand, but they don't have the budget yet. That's okay. So I have to guide them on posing. I have to guide them, show them how to pose because they've never been, they just do their little duck faces. And I'm like, no, that's not what we're going to do. Let's try this instead. So guide them on posing, guide them, give them a studio experience, usually for the first time. So
Mm-hmm.
that is normally how most people start, especially if they want to get into a kind of difficult to get into entertainment and modeling and acting creative industry. So that's definitely a great way to teach others and also meet new people. Do you think?
Absolutely. Yeah, because I think, just really building a camaraderie of a group of people that had common goals, that everybody was in their lane and just kind of really doing what they love, but at the same time, being able to kind of build their content in a way that best represents them so that they can, give themselves the best shot. Because obviously nobody can guarantee you a booking, but we can, based off of the content that we're curating for them, put them in a room. It's up to you to with your talent to get you the rest of the way there, but at least the content and the images that we're creating is getting that person to have a conversation about you, to bring you in and give you a chance to book those jobs.
Absolutely. You got to be able to do the work. Got to be able to put in the work as well. Not just get your foot in the door. That's great. You got to keep putting your work in.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about getting into cinematography. Now, for me, it was uh, a an interesting term because by the time I was in DC to study, they had literally one course on film and cinematography. So that was like all everything that I needed. That was the only time I actually upgraded my equipment because my DSLR camera at that time only took photos. I had to start to get one that had video so I can be able to do both. So I got into the documentary and PSA world. So what about you? How did you get into cinematography?
Man, so I have the most stories when it comes to like everything that I've been a part of. As I'm listening to you ask me the question, I'm just thinking back like, man, like really and truly, the funniest part of this is that in the end of 2008, my cousin, like my older cousin, she's probably like 5 years older than me or so. She was asking me, what did you want? What do you want for Christmas? And I was just like, she's like, write down whatever you want. Like, because you know, with Christmas with family, most of the time they're not really spending like no thousands of dollars.
Right.
So, I put one of my gifts was the 5D Mark II. That was before everybody knew that what that camera was going to be, because I saw that it shot video as well. So I put that on my list, and sure enough, that Christmas, my cousin gifted me the 5D Mark II. So that's really how I initially got into video, just really playing around with that camera. And just like I said, like I'm like one of those people that I can see something and I'm able to set it and actually imitate that and being able to create it. So I started playing around with video, and one of the projects that I shot, I called it the new me. One of this guy, he was an NFL player. He was actually losing his hair. He flew me up to his town to take photos. And I'm like, man, we need to record this. So I had the 7D in one hand and the 5D in the other hand, recording, taking photos and recording video. And that actually got picked up, but actually aired on TV,
Yeah.
which was a cool scenario.
Very cool, very cool. So I think for me, it was just, it was just a course that I really just took. And I mean, at that time, video was the next big thing. So it made sense. Okay, cool. Let's learn how to do video. But I didn't really I didn't really realize that I actually had a love for video until I think I finally had one assignment as soon as I finished school, the biggest assignment I feel like to this day. I got to be a part of a diabetes PSA or public service announcement. And so utilizing my network, utilizing my connections of all the time of being in Washington, D.C., there was a regular event, very popular event called Congressional Black Caucus. So it was someone that I had met. He actually had a book out. So that's how I met him. I was there. My gig was to photograph the book signing. So I met him that way. And then he kept in touch and said, hey, I'm coming back to DC. I would like to use you to record a diabetes PSA. And so he's actually the nephew of Bob Marley, of all people. So I'm like, well, okay, this is great. This is full circle because my mom loved reggae music. And so it was just an amazing concept of being in the studio, literally picking the people, giving them the script, making sure that we didn't have makeup. There were more men than women, so we didn't have any makeup artists on set, but it was still an amazing experience of, okay, you can just keep the camera rolling, get B-roll, get the film that happened before, get ready for bloopers and all that fun stuff. So it's just, video really is the next big thing, and people tend to gravitate more toward that. So of course I uploaded that to YouTube, and of course YouTube was beginning to take off back then as well. So how did you really start your YouTube channel? Like what kind of videos kind of were you starting off with, and how did that work out for you?
Yeah, so I actually I'll post some of my stuff, but I really started off with the tutorials that I mentioned to you, with the photography tutorials, and just kind of like uploading some of the finished promos, that type of thing. But I haven't really spent a lot of time. It's kind of like one of those things where you start getting people that subscribe and you're not really building it per se. So that's really what I've done, like just really putting more of finished client projects on YouTube in that way.
Perfect. Yeah, because I think it's a great platform to start off for free, but the more you get into actually educating people, which means taking them off of YouTube into your controlled platform so that people can literally watch over and over and over the video for learning whatever topic it is that they want to learn about.
Exactly. Yep.
So I think let's get into that. Let's get into briefly to kind of tell me what you do now.
Mhm.
and how can people find you on the web?
Absolutely. So I still run Corey Reese Production LLC, which ultimately provides photo, video services for people. But what I've started to do is to really curate people into, I've really branded around people that have a brand or a business that they're trying to push out. Because I think for me, you can find any given person down the street with a camera that can take photos just as good as me, you. But that's really, I think at the end of the day, like having the photos and the videos is one thing, but now how do you put that in front of your ideal market? That's a completely different ballgame. So that's kind of really what I've been focusing on, is just like really helping the people not only just create the content, but also running digital campaigns for these clients, to the effect that I've literally, one of my clients, I think I was telling you about, I'm so proud of her. Like, we started in December 8th to now, we are $260,000 away from hitting 1 million in like 7 months.
Awesome.
So that's really what I've been focusing on, is just really helping clients build their platforms. If they have a service or a product that they're able to push out online, just kind of really identifying those markets, understanding what problem they're solving for those peoples, and putting campaigns together based off of that, and really pushing their problem, solving those problems for the people that they can solve the problem for. And that's really what marketing is based around. I always tell people.
Absolutely, yeah. And I feel like we're almost on the same spectrum, but I'm the one before. So I consider myself now a brand cultivating strategist. So I
Hmm.
utilize my skills as a photographer. I,
Hmm.
basically self-taught social media marketer. I learned a few certifications along the way to help other small businesses. And now, as of recently, there's so many creatives that, once again, I feel are finally tapping into their true potential, but don't know
Hmm.
how to get started. So I'm that one that people come to when either they know how to use Facebook, Twitter, Instagram because they're browsing it all the time. That's how they get their news, but they don't know how to maximize it for their own creative businesses. So that's technically what I do. So now I'm more of an image consultant, since I can't necessarily be the one to be there and take the photos of them for
Mm.
their online brand. So I guide them along the way on social media, on photography, and all of this can be consulting, one-on-one consulting, group consulting, or even on the courses. For it to have online courses, that people learn differently. So either you
Right.
want to watch it yourself and take what you want from it and take run from there, or you need your hand being held. So that's actually
Right.
what I do. As a marketer as of right now, and still love being able to see the amazing images that they want to take themselves. They, like I said, they need to pay their own bills. They want to learn how they can eat while still doing what they love to do. So that's
Right.
definitely what I love to do right now.
Nice. Love it. So which one do you like better? Just kind of like the image consultant part of it, or like being kind of hands-on in the mix? Would
Hands
you
on
say?
all the way. Hands on
I
all the way.
gotcha.
I mean, of course, you have to shift and adapt to wherever possible. But I
Hmm.
love being able to, I love in-person energy. I mean, virtual energy is great, but I love in-person energy. Well, I'm a hugger. I love to hug. So if I can give you a hug and if I can tell that you're nervous because it's your first major shoot in a while or something, I love the hands-on energy. What about you, though?
It's really a toss-up, because I was actually at the studio helping. I was filming something for a young lady that was starting a YouTube channel just from her journey that she's had over the last 3 years. And she tried to call me, and I was like, I'm actually shooting. She was like, don't you make enough money online to not have to shoot, or do you just love it? And I said, that's the key. I do make enough money online to not have to shoot, but I still love what I do. And I think that's the beauty of what, when you're doing what you love, like, it's really no separation between your work and your play. And I absolutely love being able to create for people, as well as being able to mentally come in and say, hey, now how do we position this to be able to help this person get closer to what their goal is for their business and for their lives? So I think I like both of them equally. You know what I mean? But I will say, I don't see myself, 5, 10 years, because I'm not afraid to say my age. I'm 40 years old. I don't see myself 45, 50 years old still running out doing photo shoots. I do. The good thing is I do have photographers that I get some of the people that reach out to me for for different work, for different type of shoots, because like if you do a search for photographers in Atlanta, I'm on the first page. So I'm able to push some of that work out to other photographers and take, depending on the budget, able to take a commission without actually doing the work. So ultimately, I see myself being able to even maybe franchise Corey Reese photography and production, so that people can shoot under the umbrella, because I've been able to build the credibility of the brand and the name in a way that makes sense.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so for me, what I also started doing, I think in 2000, well, I had the idea in 2017, but I didn't actually start anything in 2018. But I launched a digital marketing agency. So the visual behind that was, well, at first I wanted it to just be a network or a media group for other photographers to also have the opportunity that I have had. But then that's when I was like, but wait a minute, I have all these social media clients and I'm already starting to outsource just the specific task of managing social media. So why not make it just all in one? And so that's what I'm thinking of as I'm building and brainstorming and pivoting and thinking about how can I make this agency better. I too was thinking about, okay, I can't wait to be able to outsource everything, but I want to be the one to still be able to come into the studio and work with, someone one-on-one myself. So that's definitely the future of bringing people with you along the successful journey, because it does not have to be lonely in that way.
Right, absolutely.
Now, what would you tell the Corey who was just starting off and maybe he's wondering whether or not he should be taking this route? What would you tell little Corey? What would you take what you know now to tell little Corey?
Man, I think that one of the biggest things that I would tell my younger self is to believe bigger sooner, right? Because I think as I grew up and graduated college, I felt like achieved and I reached for high goals. But when it came to the airline and kind of working within that structure, it seems like the airline, they have a structure where you fly for free, so you're not getting paid $100,000 a year. I think I might have been getting paid maybe like $40,000 a year.
Yeah.
And I thought I bought my first house at 23. So like I said, I felt like I was doing good, but that was it. I didn't have any goals outside of making $40,000 a year until I realized, and I got around people and I saw people that was making $100,000 in a month. At that point, that's what allowed me to grow my mindset to what was possible. So telling my younger self to do personal development, learn everything that you can learn, and understand, like, what are you directing your path to? Be intentional about your growth, like, and understand in what areas you want to grow in, and just kind of piece them off just like that, and don't try to do too much too soon, but at the same time, be intentional about what areas you want to grow in, focus on those areas once you master that, and continue to move. And I think had I understood that early on, and not to say that I haven't accomplished a lot, but man, I would like to see like what that would have looked like had I been doing that at a 23-year-old Corey Reese graduating college.
Yeah.
What?
It's that we always love alternative endings, right? Like what would have happened if.
What about yourself?
Yeah, I think I would definitely encourage little Zaakirah to continue to be consistent, because there will be moments that you're like, should I really be doing this? Should I really do that? Or also, I would tell little Zaakirah not to worry what everybody else says, right? So if everybody else thinks, okay, you know too much, or you're doing too much, or why do you want to be in this industry? It's not their vision, it's yours. So I think
Right.
definitely having the mentality, making sure to encourage her to know that this is what you want to do. Don't let anyone else tell you any other way. Because I also feel like what how much bigger could I have been? What else could I have been doing? Had I not had those little stops and pauses along the way. But of course, that's all a part of the journey. So just making sure to stay consistent and to not let the haters win.
Right, absolutely. I think that's definitely important. Just like you said, staying consistent and really understand that God didn't give that vision to anybody else but you. So you can't expect them to understand something that's bigger than what they have a vision for themselves.
Exactly. All right, so we are definitely coming to the end of it. I want you to go ahead and lay out all of your websites and all of your social media channels, and we'll definitely put it in a comment for people to follow. But where can we find you all over the web?
Absolutely. Yep. So you can go to CoreyReesePhotography.com. That's my photography and video production.
Now,
If you
Corey is C-O.
REY, yep,
There we go.
COREY, and then REESE, like the candy. So CoreyReesePhotography.com is that's the photography video production. So if you're looking for help from a business standpoint or just kind of about marketing, that type of thing, you can go to CoreyReese.com. That's my entrepreneur site and just really focus on more of the business and the marketing. And then Instagram, Corey Reese Photo. And it's funny, I get some people that reach out to me and be like, do you have an Instagram? They don't ask me for my website. They ask me for my Instagram. I'm
Right,
like,
that's the new website now. It's so crazy.
right. I was like, I send them my website and I say, because I don't put everything on Instagram. I put everything on
Exactly.
Instagram. It's no reason for you to go to my site.
Exactly. Exactly.
But yep, so those are my channels there.
Perfect. Yeah, I mean, me too. I honestly have been looking at my Instagram like, how can I make this like more of my portfolio? Because literally, I too am so used to, going to the big names and the big babies of like, okay, here's my website, here's my physical portfolio. So everything
Mhm.
is not on my Instagram either. But I am everywhere on social media at Illuminous One. But I have a
Okay.
separate Instagram for my photography at Nayyar Photog. So that's my middle name. That's the photography name. And also for those who want to either read my book, I have a book out, but it's kind of like a memoir. It's I touch a little bit about my photography experience, but it's more of overcoming life before even becoming a professional
Mm.
photographer. So that's called Seeing Life Through a Different Lens. And then my podcast is the Living Legacy Podcast, and that's also all of that can be found on my website at zakirahnayyar.com. And from there, you can just kind of learn more about me, learn about the courses. You can choose to sign up for a course, choose to sign up for a one-on-one consultation or a group consultation, or even if you already know how to use a camera, you have photos, you just need help with the website presence. That's what I do too. You can find all of that at zakirahnayyar.com. So thank you, Corey. This has been great.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks for having me again.